Well, it's only a year old, but the Palestinian unity government appears to be falling into disunity. President Mahmoud Abbas has dissolved the government, which is comprised of his Fatah party and Hamas. Well, the move appears to be connected to the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, where war with Israel broke out last summer, as many of you recall. And there are charges that Hamas has been conducting secret negotiations with Israel to extend the ceasefire. But there's also been growing friction over the territories Hamas and Fatah each control. Whatever the cause, this means the hope is fading for free elections in occupied territories. Well, foreign policy analyst Charles Goldberg joins us. Walk us through the issues here, and specifically here from many of our viewers, exactly how much power does Fatah and Hamas have over certain areas there in Palestinian-held territories?
Well, Fatah controls, Fatah or the Palestinian Authority, which Fatah is the largest faction of the PLO, which runs the Palestinian Authority, controls the West Bank, and Hamas controls Gaza. About a year ago, they decided that they were going to create this unity government, but it's important to note, and it's important for your viewers to understand, neither officials of Fatah or Hamas actually served in this government. This was a government of technocrats and independents appointed by both Fatah and Hamas to actually administer both territories. But in reality, Hamas was not interested in giving up security control in Gaza Strip. And that made it impossible for the Palestinian Authority to actually govern because they couldn't take responsibility for anything that was happening in Gaza. So President Abbas became frustrated with that situation, and then when he found out about these indirect ceasefire negotiations for actually a 3 to 5 year ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, which cut him out of the process, he decided to end this government.
All right, so it's safe to say that we've already come to the end of the slippery slope here, as it were. What I want to know is, who does Israel recognize? And if so, if not, who would they want to recognize in a situation like this where there seems to be total confusion?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of recognition. I think it's a matter of practical policy. So
I like that.
Benjamin Netanyahu cannot, with his current coalition, and I think himself does not want to, at this point, agree to a Palestinian state in the West Bank. For practical reasons, politically, he can't do it. His coalition is made up of members of right-wing parties that would pull out of the government as soon as he began a conversation that would lead to the creation of a Palestinian state. And I also think, realistically at this point, given what's going on in Syria, given what's going on in Yemen, given what's going on in the region, creation of a Palestinian state that would be very, very difficult to maintain and maybe taken over by radical Islamists is dangerous. All right,
well, so this was more than just political expediency when he spoke to a joint session of Congress here in the United States right before the election, saying that, he would not agree to a Palestinian state.
Well, he said that in an interview on Israeli television right before the day before the election. The speech to Congress was really about Iran. But you know what? The two are actually interconnected. He wants to reach out to the Saudis and others in the region, and Gulf countries in the region like Qatar, who are afraid of an Iranian nuclear weapon. And I think by negotiating with Hamas and by agreeing to a deal, to a ceasefire, not a permanent deal, but a 3 to 5 year ceasefire, he doesn't have to give up any land. He doesn't have to make any concessions that would anger his own right-wing political constituency. So what I think he's doing is he's saying, I'm going to reach out to this Palestinian faction. I'm going to cut a ceasefire deal that doesn't require any serious concessions that are ideological concessions. All it would require is the ending of a blockade and creation of a seaport to allow commerce and economic development in the area.
All right, well, he talked about both. Of course, well publicized about Iran, but as well as the Palestinian state here. The situation here is, where does that leave us now? We're talking about a fragile ceasefire as it is already. Can we expect, or the world expect, that at any point there may be some kind of ceasefire that has some teeth and meaning to it?
I think Hamas has an interest in a ceasefire too. And
what about Fatah?
Fatah doesn't have an interest in the ceasefire because they're being cut out, but Fatah doesn't have an interest in starting a war. Fatah's interest is in going to the international community and trying to impose a solution on Israel, something that the French are about to bring to the United Nations, and it's unclear if the United States will even veto that effort. But Israel's becoming isolated by the Obama administration, and I think it's reaching out to its Arab neighbors who traditionally were enemies.
Well, why are you putting it just on the Obama administration here when other countries seem to feel the same way as the Obama administration feels?
Because the Obama administration, the United States has traditionally vetoed any of these efforts to impose solutions on Israel. The Obama administration may veto it. I'm not saying they won't, but there have been rumblings that President Obama is so fed up or upset with Prime Minister Netanyahu that he will allow something to be imposed on the Israelis. And I think it's very dangerous for him to do that. And I think it's dangerous for the United States to be put in that position.
And the beat goes on. Charles Goldberg, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Happy Father's Day.